Humza Yousef is being oppressed by a children's nursery in Scotland. This nursery is racist, and Humza can prove it.
I was really hoping you were going to say he identifies as a 4-year-old and they won't let him join.
I don't know that that's not true. But Humza Yousef has accused the nursery of discrimination, according to the Scottish Sun. See, we went out of our way to find a story that would be relevant to your interests here. Your best buddy, Humza, has decided to complain to Watchdogs after the nursery said it had no space for 3 kids who had ethnic names. They didn't say it quite like that. They weren't like, your ethnic children can't come here. But responding to the fake inquiries... hang on, I'll skip that actually. So Yousef had made a complaint with the Care Inspectorate, calling for an explanation of the different answers he got from the Little Scholars Nursery in Broughty Ferry. He is now wanting an answer from the watchdog on whether there has been discrimination over ethnicity or religion, which the nursery of course denies. Yousef told the Daily Record, "Nadia and I really want an explanation why there are such contrasting responses for the emails sent from ethnic and white Scottish sounding names." So this is really interesting. So basically, Humza applied to this nursery and they said, no, go away. He applied again. They said, no, go away. We haven't got any spaces. And then he set up catfish accounts that were meant to look like white Scots. And they said, yes, come on in. It's like, okay. That does look a bit sus, I've got to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, like, if this is true, and, you know, if this, because people in the past have faked things like this, like look at Jussie Smollett.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'd rather this was done in a sort of... you know, a scientific way, but yeah, at face value, it looks terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. And he says, despite being given plenty of opportunity to clarify their position, the nursery has refused to explain the differing email responses. We actually have a file photo of the nursery responding. We can get the next one up. There we go. No one gets that joke. Don't worry, I've been on the internet too much. Let's go back to the article.
I don't get it.
It's there's a meme that's on the internet, and you basically walk into a conversation, say something highly controversial, refuse to elaborate, and leave. And that's the picture it always comes with. It's brilliant. But anyway, never mind. I'm the only one who appreciates that joke. We'll move on. So, shut up. Oh, good. That's how jokes work, isn't it? You know, jokes are most funny after you explain them. So anyway, I find it disturbing, and consequently, I have turned to the Care Inspectorate to get answers. So Humza Yousef is now in a race row with the nursery.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he's in a race row with the whole of Scotland, pretty much. Have you seen his speech that he gave in the Parliament? It's just like he's saying white, you know, listing all these dignitaries and you know, officials and stuff that are white. But Scotland's like, at the last census, is 96% white. So you're going to have quite a lot of white people in, you know, the average job roles.
Well, how would you fill them without, like, you know, like how? Well, you've got 4% of Scotland like running everything.
Yeah,
in Humza's view. Yeah, but I like the fact that he's come to the Edward Longshanks position on Scotland. Trouble with Scotland is full of Scots. Based Humza Yousef. I agree with you. No, I'm joking. See, but you know, this. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, it goes against my personal experience because we've broken up now, but my ex-girlfriend, so she's a Scottish Muslim, well, formerly Muslim, and so she's like ethnically sort of Afghan, Indian, and also Irish, and she actually changed her LinkedIn profile picture to look more ethnic. To sort of enhance her, make her ethnicity more obvious because she's like, this is going to help me get a job.
Oh, really?
So, maybe nurseries are filtering the other way, but certainly some places, you know, the perception is that, you know, they're filtering a different way.
But what I like about this is that at no point Humza Yousef thinks, maybe it's me. You know, maybe it's not that they hate, like, you know, Muslims or something.
Would they know it was him?
Well, the surname's Yousef. You know, get an email. I mean, it's not like Humza and his wife aren't famous.
Yeah. So they did apply under their own names.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's given that he's quite famous in Scotland and not universally liked.
Really? That's hard to believe.
That could be a factor.
It could be a factor, yes. So yeah, his wife Nadia applied for a place for their daughter Amal in September 2020, and they were told there's no available spaces. And then just 3 hours later, she asked her friend to email about a space for her son, who is also 2, same age. And the friend was told to fill in a form so the nursery could check availability, despite Nadia being told there were no spaces at present. So we don't actually know that they have spaces. They were just told, we'll check the availability. I don't know what the response was, but they assume that, I mean, because I can completely conceive of a sort of bureaucratic mix-up here. So basically, Humza replies and gets the response back because, person A fills out these forms, checks the thing, oh no, we have got no spaces for that. Right, sorry, we haven't got any spaces. And then the email comes through to person B. And person B is just automatically like, yeah, we'll check availability. And then at some point during, late during the next day or something, they then check and doubtless, send an email back. But Humza seems to have jumped in the middle of the process of checking the availability and going, you're doing this because I'm Muslim.
Yeah. And this is some people are incredibly quick to ascribe racism as a motive, where it could just be a mission or.
Although I might be wrong here because actually apparently a white Scottish friend of theirs also put in an application for the child of the same age, and within 24 hours of refusing our application, my wife's friends was accepted.
Right. It does actually sound like we've got a racist nursery here. It really does.
It does sound like...
Yeah, I'm on Humza's side with this one. I mean, I never thought I'd say that, but it does just sound like...
Humza, you're being oppressed by that nursery. That racist nursery is oppressing you. I agree. You need to do something about it. It's probably run by white people. So I was sure there must be a rational explanation, but my wife felt differently. She created a profile with a white Scot name and made an application, and she also asked her sister to do the same. Her sister was rejected, but the white Scot application was accepted. Wow, racist nurseries in Scotland. He added, I cannot tell you how angry I am. So imagine he's been stomping around his house all day, fuming about this.
So is he going to tell us how angry he is?
No.
Why doesn't he just tell us how angry he is?
No, I would like to have known, actually, but I just don't know. I mean, presumably he was quite
I'm guessing he's angry, very angry. But yeah, I mean, that's a horrible... I mean, I can't imagine what that would feel like to happen, especially to your children. I think that's a really, that would really, sting. So, that's terrible if it,
I mean, we haven't heard from the nursery on this yet.
It's 2021. We don't need to hear the other side.
Well, that's the point, isn't it?
We can just jump to the conclusion.
Exactly. And I think we should. In fact, we do have a statement from the spokesperson of the nursery. Right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. They came out and said, no, we hate brown people. No, they didn't say that. Wow, weird. Our nursery is extremely... it's weird. That's what I was expecting. Our nursery is... I love the way that Humza Yousef is feuding with a nursery. Right? Our nursery is extremely proud of being open and inclusive to all, and any claim that the contrary is demonstrably false, and an accusation we would refute in the strongest possible terms. In addition to our owners being of Asian heritage, the owners of the nursery, across more than a decade, we have regularly welcomed both children and staff from a range of different cultural, ethnic and racial backgrounds, including 2 Muslim families currently. We also made arrangements to accommodate those different lifestyles by, for example, providing halal menu for children who come from Muslim families. Right, so... if it is a case of racism, it's not being done by the white people because it's owned by Asian people.
It's owned by Asian people?
Yes.
Oh my God, well that's a twist. That is a twist. So
where do you go from there, Humza?
Yeah, did Humza know that before?
I guess not.
This suddenly. I'm right behind you, Humza. Yeah. You take these racists down. I don't think he was expecting that, was he?
No, I wasn't expecting that. I'd only
God.
skimmed over this because it's a bit of a hurry.
I mean, it does raise an issue. I mean, obviously, I still think it's terrible. Depending on what the actual motive was, but I mean, if they genuinely did discriminate against his children based on an ethnicity or cultural background or whatever, that's appalling. But I mean, it raises an issue because I've noticed white people are terrified of being perceived as racist.
Oh yes.
Whereas people who aren't as white feel a bit freer to be, to show their discrimination on their sleeve. I mean, the guy who cuts my hair, I go to this Turkish barber in, I better not say where because he might be identified.
Yeah, you don't want to get in trouble.
But man, he came to this country like 30 years ago and now is viciously racist against anybody who came like a day after him.
Oh, I used to live above a restaurant called Jewel and the Crown, and I remember speaking to the owner, like this was like decades ago now, but I remember speaking to the owner and basically I'd never heard anyone be so much against immigration. He's like, these immigrants are terrible. You've got no standards anymore. I had to work really hard to come into this country and you're just letting these people in. They need to be deported. And I'm like, oh, bloody hell.
I mean, people generally do work quite hard to get into the UK.
Absolutely.
You've got to, we're surrounded by water. So you've got to, get on something that floats. I mean, it's almost like we're sort of, it's a self-selection process for a really good Olympic team.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full broadcast live every weekday at 1 p.m. UK time on lotuseaters.com.